On September 27, 2023, 7 presidential Republican candidates stood here at the Reagan Library for a debate they hope will lead them to a future presidential win. Why debate here at the Reagan Library? Well, at the dedication of the library in November of 1991, President Reagan said that he hoped his presidential library would be more than just a place where scholars interpret the past. He wanted it also to be a dynamic forum where policymakers debate the future. What better way to make his dream a reality than to hold presidential debates at his library? The Ronald Reagan Presidential Foundation has now hosted 5 debates at the Reagan Library, 2 during the 2008 election cycle, 1 during the 2012 election cycle, 1 during the 2015 cycle, and the one we just held on September 27, 2023, in partnership with Fox Business, Univision, Rumble, and the RNC. Crews and staff worked around the clock preparing for this past debate, bringing in 500,000 square feet of new cabling and equipment infrastructure, almost 3,000 square feet of network fiber, 3,500 square feet of new graphics designed, printed, and installed, including all the graphics you saw behind me just now, 1 megawatt of power pulled through generators, risers, scaffolding, forklifts, and of course, Jelly Bellies. In our last 4 debates, we were partnered with CNN for 2 of them and NBC, MSNBC for the other 2. For this debate, we got to work with Fox Business and Fox News.
When you walk in this building, famously known for Air Force One, I think everybody is just drawn right to Air Force One. We had a great challenge to try and get as many people in here as possible, working with the library and the RNC. And, where can we fit over 700 seats that all have a pretty good view and show off the spectacular library, focusing on Air Force One. So we wound up down here on the ground floor. And I think when people watch the debate, obviously hoping for substance and great conversation on the stage, but you're going to see all the things that come along with being President of the United States, right? Air Force One, Marine One, and obviously the beautiful view behind the set. We've been planning these debates and talking about them for well over a year. We started in Milwaukee. So, there's over 300 people here on the ground. And it's just about letting all of the creative people and skilled technical people do what they do best. Miles of cable, cameras all over the place, different setups. It's not just the debate, but we're on the campus here of the library for several days broadcasting across 2 networks, Fox Business Network and Fox News. So sharing information and letting those people do what they do.
Hosting a presidential debate is a monumental effort. Months and months of planning boil down to the 10 days leading up to the debate, when the overhaul of our property must be complete. From the debate hall staging, to the guest and staff credentials, to the candidate hold rooms, to the security preparedness, to the build out of rooms for media to work.
When President Reagan opened this library, he wanted it to be a dynamic intellectual forum. Those were his exact words, where policymakers debate the future. We are looking forward to hosting the GOP presidential candidates so that they can make their case for why they should hold the highest office in the land. I'll be listening for how they address President Reagan's timeless values. What are they? Limited government, individual liberty, economic opportunity, freedom and democracy, peace through strength, and national pride. Here on the ground, as you can imagine, operationally, this has been a tremendous team effort. We have over 700 ticketed guests, 600 members of the media, and 450 staff and volunteers across our partners from the RNC, Fox Business, Univision, and Rumble. We are thrilled with the collaboration and the great event.
A benefit of hosting a presidential debate is the coverage the Reagan Library receives by the media. It is a great way for us to showcase our campus to people around the world, who then may be inspired to visit us to learn more about Ronald Reagan and the American presidency. The September 27, 2023 debate had 7 candidates: Doug Burgum, Chris Christie, Ron DeSantis, Nikki Haley, Mike Pence, Vivek Ramaswamy, and Tim Scott. And 3 moderators: Dana Prino from Fox News, Stuart Varney from Fox Business, and Elia Calderon from Univision.
When you find out you're going to moderate a debate, first there's shock, and then you think, well, now what? And you start with a big blank canvas. They said any topic, any question. And so we started working on all of those, and I probably had 150, and you have to narrow it down and narrow it down. I have 2 co-moderators. We have 7 candidates. You want to make sure that every candidate gets the same amount of questions and airtime. You have to make sure there's going to be moments where they can debate, because at a Republican debate or a Democratic one, you might have a lot of agreement on stage, but voters are trying to make a choice between one of them. So we've been working together very collaboratively, trying to hone it down to make sure that we're asking the questions people really need to know about. Being here at the Reagan Library means the world to me. My earliest childhood memory is Ronald Reagan's inauguration. I remember where I was on 722 Elm Street in Denver, Colorado. I remember the green carpet. I remember the television. I could not move. I sat right there in front of the television, wanted to know everything that was happening. Then fast forward, and I had a chance to work for President George W. Bush, and then after that to transition to working at Fox News. And when they chose me to be one of the co-moderators, I, couldn't believe it, but I'm gonna do my best to try to make sure it's the best possible debate for the voters, because this election really counts.
We look forward to hosting many more presidential debates in the years to come. Thank you for joining us today. We hope you enjoyed this Inside the Reagan Library video. See you soon.
I want to raise an issue that I think has been lurking out there for 2 or 3 weeks and cast it specifically in national security terms. You already are the oldest president in history, and some of your staff say you were tired after your most recent encounter with Mr. Mondale. I recall yet that President Kennedy had to go for days on end with very little sleep during the Cuba Missile Crisis. Is there any doubt in your mind that you would be able to function in such circumstances?
Not at all, Mr. Truitt, and I want you to know that also I will not make age an issue of this campaign. I am not going to exploit for political purposes my opponent's youth and inexperience.